Welcome to the Band Director Bootcamp podcast, the go-to place for busy band directors who want practical to build programs while maintaining balance in their lives. This podcast is brought to you by the Empowered Music Educator Academy, where we help directors like you find efficiency, sustainability, and impact in your teaching and leadership. And speaking of impact, our platinum sponsor, Kennelly Keys Music, has been serving musicians with a commitment to quality, reliability, and exceptional service. Whether you need top-tier instruments, expert repairs, or trusted advice, they've got you covered. Now, let's dive in and set the tempo for success.
Welcome to another episode of Band Director Bootcamp, the podcast with productivity and wellness tips for busy band directors. I'm your host, Lesley Moffat, and I'm really grateful to be sharing this platform with you. We know you don't have time to watch lengthy professional development webinars, so we give you 20-minute tidbits with takeaways you can use to support you in this amazing career. You're going to want to hang out today because if you're somebody who has ever wished you had more hours in the day or you felt like you're running on empty no matter how much you checked off your list, today's guest is here to change your relationship with time, energy, and your own capacity. I know I'm talking to all you teachers out there. Come on, we've all had this feeling. After you listen to this episode today, you're going to have some tangible ways that you can create more flow in your day and take back control of your energy and not sacrifice your health and happiness. That's what I'm all about. That's what I talk about. And I do it through the lens of a busy band director. Well, today I'm bringing on Michelle Niemeyer. She's been an attorney or lawyer for many, many years. She's now a coach and a speaker, and she's an expert at helping people, if you will, bend time. Not like a magical thing, but she helps people align really deeply with who they are and how they work best. And you guys, when we're all in that zone, we know the magic that can happen, but we forget how to get there sometimes because of the daily stuff that comes at us. So she's going to talk to us today and talk about how you can find clarity, protect your energy, and actually get more done and feel more fulfilled in the process. Like me, she's been through the ringer and back, loving that job and having it get super overwhelming and then finding a way to do it in a balanced way. So you guys that are out there that are struggling with how do I do this, stay tuned. We're going to talk about that today. Thanks for joining us, Michelle.
I'm so happy to be here, Lesley.
Hey, give us a little bit of background on you and where you were and where you are now and that little bit of journey so we understand what we're talking about before we dig into the details.
Absolutely. And I will keep this short because I know that your audience has a little bit of time for this podcast and we want to honor that time. And I'm dying looking at your book cover behind you because it is the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing. I was a lawyer for about 20 years when I hit a really bad point of burnout. And then I exercised, got in shape, felt better, looked better. I was at my high school weight. Everything's awesome, right? And I thought everything was fine. And about a year later, I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called PBC, which is it's a liver disease. No need to go into the details except to tell you that if you were to Google it, you'd be scared for me. And so I found out about this. I did a ton of research about holistic health and how to deal with autoimmunity outside of the medical, drug world, because they will tell you there's no cure and that there are drugs that help with some of the symptoms, but they can't stop the process, whatever. So I went to a health coaching school just to learn because I wasn't intending to change careers. But I made tons and tons of lifestyle changes as a result of dealing with this autoimmune disease, which I've now turned around from a stage 2 to a stage 0 in 10 years. It's like I've done things that I went to my doctor and said, you guys said that this couldn't be done. And she said to me at one point, she said, well, we tell people that because most people aren't willing to do what you've done. And I was like, I made major changes, but really, I still have a glass of wine and I still drink coffee. And they tell us to drink coffee. Word to the wise, coffee is liver protective. I'm taking some supplements and I'm eating way better. I actually eat food now. I don't eat out of the vending machine. I don't drink all of my liquid in the form of Diet Coke and coffee.
Oh my God. Every band director out there can relate to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I sleep at night, and I actually have started to be able to sleep without thoughts racing in my head for 2 hours before I can fall asleep. So all of this stuff added up to knowing that I found my way back from the burnout completely. I loved my job again. I was really doing well in it. But at the same time, I was like, I could do so much more for people and do things I enjoy more. What people don't understand is the talking and the interacting with humans part is a really minimal part of a lawyer's job. And that's not fun for me. Being isolated is not fun for me. You guys have the opposite, right? You're like, oh my God, just get me away from people.
Exactly.
You've got people around you all the time.
Peace and quiet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Peace and quiet. What?
Yeah. So I came up with this system, and the system is called the Art of Bending Time. And the idea of this system is that we have some big foundational stuff in the beginning. I call it a busyness detox. And what the busyness detox is first, you get clarity on who you are and what lights you up. You need to know what those little sparks are. Not the big, I did something once a year thing, not the, it's my anniversary or it's Christmas, but the little sparks, little things that happen every day that give you joy. And that's different for everybody. So, when you can slow down enough where you can realize that, oh my God, I love the smell of that cup of coffee, or I like walking by the water and seeing the light flash on the little waves, or, whatever little thing it is. It could be being in nature. It could be doing something creative. Everybody's got these things. With you guys, it might be figuring, seeing a kid that's been struggling with something and all of a sudden it clicks. Right. I was that band kid, by the way, who quit the flute when I couldn't. I never could treble my tongue, and I finally got to the point where I couldn't play the music anymore. But anyway, I stayed in choir, but I quit band. So I would, I recommend that people learn how to find those sparks through this clarity exercise.
And that alone is hard, right? Because to notice the things that bring you joy, you got to stop thinking about the emails that you need to respond to. I mean,
Yes.
This isn't an easy task. It sounds super simple, like, well, I'll just appreciate the blue sky. Well, I can't if I got my face in my phone while I'm walking to the parking lot taking care of something.
Right. And the other thing is and phones are a big one. I'm a big proponent of learning how to put your phone to the side for hours and hours at a time.
Yes.
But I think you do this first and then you work on your physical. To me, you're never going to be truly able to maintain focus if you're not physically healthy. And physically healthy includes mentally healthy, whether that's mental illness or just ability to focus. It's all coming from the same stuff, which is having a healthy body and a healthy mind. And so you want to get good sleep. You want to eat the rainbow, so to speak, and healthy foods and be hydrated. And moving your body is not a point, as we talked about. For most people who are band directors are physically moving their bodies a lot during the day. It's not like some of my clients who had desk-bound jobs and literally walk like 2,000 steps a day. And they think they did a lot when they walk 4. and when you don't move your body, it's just as bad as when you move it too much. So you want to kind of get that balance that's right for you. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're doing flexibility exercises for you guys, because if you're just doing the things you're doing without that, one day your body's going to rebel.
Which again, all the band directors this makes sense, but they're so busy. Now I know lawyers are busy too.
Yeah.
How do you make the time? How do you make that a priority when you got all the other deadlines and the things?
Well, and so this is the concept of bending time, right? Because if I spend half an hour in the morning moving my body, and my body now is energized, or I've slept enough, and I take time to do this, right? It's going to take time to be in bed 8 hours instead of 5 hours, or to do that workout or do that flexibility workout. If you're on your feet all day, you're going to have issues potentially that are because of a lack of flexibility. Make the meals, eat the real food, not the stuff from the vending machine. All that takes a little bit of time. But what happens is the amount of productivity you gain by the ability to focus, to actually be there in the moment and do what you're doing now, is going to supercharge the value of that time you're spending. So you're going to get more in that time.
It's similar to music teachers as we teach kids the fundamentals, getting good tone, doing the right note, practicing the scales, getting those things set up so when you get to playing a big complicated music piece, you're on autopilot, right? And if you've done the meal prep on a Sunday and on a Wednesday afternoon when you're super tired, you open the fridge and you're like, pop that in the oven, dinner's done. Right? It's that initial investment.
Pull out that bag of raw foods in the hummus, right? I mean, that's my kind of fast food. That's awesome. It beats the hell out of McDonald's. So, you can do that kind of thing. And yes, it takes a couple hours on the weekend, but it's going to save you so much time and frankly, so much money.
Money too,
right?
You're not
Because you're not going to the drive-through or stopping at Cheesecake Factory or wherever it is that you're grabbing.
Or even the grocery store daily, because you know that whole planning ahead for a week. And people are like, "There's no time for that." That's where I come in with, well, use Chat GPT. Let it plan your menus. Let it make your shopping list for you. Let it go online and order online, so you just pick them up.
In the beginning of my health journey, I was a Beachbody coach. And one thing I learned from that was meal prep. And that's fantastic because a lot of what you do is just, find a pattern of stuff that you like. I used to make what I called food granimals. I'd pick like 3 proteins and prep them and portion them. I'd pick a bunch of, I did a lot with raw veggies, and then I'd have other things that I could throw together, and then I'd decide what I wanted to eat, but it would take like 5 minutes to make it.
Mm-hmm. And it was available, and then you make better choices.
Because the mushrooms were already sliced, the onions were chopped, the carrots and whatever, it was all ready to do something with.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was do it.
So I think we all intellectually get it. It's just making that time. And something I've learned over the course of this, when I was writing my first book, I learned about time thing too, is finding out when is my best time to do certain things. If I need to do a heavy mental task, it's got to be morning. If I try to do it at 3:00 in the afternoon, it's going to take me 4 times as long. And then for me, it's setting, I'll put it in my calendar too. I'll often say, hey, I need to work on final book edits. I'll put it on my calendar and I set a timer for 90 minutes and I break it down into doable chunks. And for those 90 minutes, we don't get distracted by pop-ups. We don't, nothing. We just spend those 90 minutes and it goes so fast and I get so much done. So it's a different way.
You've already got some ninja skills going on here.
I had to work at it. It's been like 8 years since I went through my whole, crash and burn. And I think I went through the profession. So no, I had to come up with some stuff to do.
And let me ask you, when you crashed and burned before you really knew you were crashing and burning, did you think you had time management problems?
I had no time. It was so much on my plate. I just couldn't do it. And I had to make some modifications. It's not like I magically did all the things I was doing and got better. I had to come and say, where are some boundaries? Why am I letting myself get spread so thin for everybody else? So that my family and I don't have time for us. And so
that's huge.
I'm not working in that same environment that was unhealthy.
Yeah. So, you have naturally learned to be a time suck ninja. I'm going to give you an award for that.
Oh, thank you, Abby.
So I have a character in my program that I call Time Suck Ninja. And my goal for everyone I work with is to be a time suck ninja. So I love this. I'm going to have to make an AI time suck ninja with your face in it. So I look at 2 different kinds of things, 2 different kinds of time sucks, so to speak, that we need to learn to deal with. One is I call them internal time sucks. This is stuff like scrolling your phone or anything you do that's something you do to procrastinate. I know people who clean their house instead of doing something that needs to get done because it's a way to avoid doing the work that they need to do, right? That's important now. And then there are what I call the external time sucks. Those are those things other people put on you. That's when somebody comes to you and says, can you be on this committee? And the next thing you know, you're doing all the work on the committee and you don't have time for what you've got to begin with.
And you don't even like the committee. You don't want to be on the committee.
Right. You don't want anything to do with it.
But yes, because you're people pleaser.
But your friend asked you, so you feel like you feel obligated, or whatever the reason. And, for me, that was local politics. I got so sucked into local politics that I let people talk me into running for office. It was really awful. I was told it would take about 4 hours a day total. It took me easy 10 to 12 hours a day. And I was a self-employed lawyer. So I was like, I couldn't pay for my lifestyle and for my office expenses with campaign funds. So I went deep into debt because of that. But there's, in any kind of a role, there are often, and a lot of times, I hate to say it, a lot of it's women get stuck in these positions where it's work that somebody wants somebody to take on extra. And it's like, hey, you're sitting there.
You're super efficient already, so let me give you more work.
Right. And you handle the Christmas bazaar, whatever it is, right? And the next thing you know, you're handling something that wasn't in your wheelhouse, right. And it's on your plate now on top of everything else. So that knowing what matters. I'm sorry. So the clarity thing, knowing what matters to you, is your North Star. So if you know who you are and what lights you up and what matters, and then you can look at what your big goals are, your goals, not somebody else's goals. Look what your big goals are, and then analyze those goals and make a map to get to them, and really draw boundaries around that time so that you can do the things that matter to you and to your family, whatever your focus is, you want to be able to take care of what matters to you most.
Right. And you have to keep reminding ourselves. So, Hey, I got a couple more questions for you. But before we do that, I just want to take a minute and shout out our podcast sponsors, the Empowered Music Educator Academy and Kennelly Keys Music. If you're listening to this while thinking about everything still on your to-do list, I see you. One of the reasons I started building tools alongside this podcast was because even the best strategies don't help you if you're too exhausted to implement them. That's exactly why I created Band Director Buddy GPT. It's a productivity and wellness tool designed to think like a successful band director and support the real work behind the scenes, the planning, emails, scheduling, and problem solving, and more, so you can amplify your impact without increasing your workload. If you're a busy band, choir, or orchestra teacher who wants a sustainable way to do this job, you can learn more at banddirectorbuddy.com. All right, I'm having a great conversation here with Michelle Niemeyer. She just talked about clarity and all. Shameless plug. That's one of the chapters in my first book is about getting clarity. The 3 C's, I call it clarity, care, and oh my God, I can't think of the third C now because I'm just rambling. But that whole piece on clarity, which takes time and it's hard. I had to come to those things like before writing a book, get clear on what you're writing. I'm like, I'm just going to write all the things. The clearer we get on what our goals are, whether it's teaching lessons or one out of life, the easier we can get there. So we have to clear out that murkiness. So you've got some amazingly cool stuff to tell us about. And I've just got a couple minutes here left. And I do want to make sure, first of all, that you tell us about you and what you offer and how people can find out more about you, and maybe give us a takeaway for today before we wrap up.
Okay. Well, what I do is I help people gain about 10 free hours a week by doing these things we've been talking about. When you do all of these practices together, what happens is obviously you're not getting 10 more hours. Everybody gets the same number of hours, but you get more squeezed out of the hours that you have. And you can choose to take that time to rest. You can choose to take that time to go to the beach or go for a hike or hang out with your family or whatever it might be. And you're going to have a better time doing it because you're going to have more energy to be focused and you're going to be doing the things that matter to you. So that's what I do. I start, like I said, with a clarity exercise. And one of the things I do for people I'm working with is, and anybody on a podcast, is I ask them to pull out their phone. Please don't do this if you're driving, but if you have your phone accessible, text the word clarity to 33777. And that will get you to a community sign-up page that gives you a guided meditation and journaling prompts to help you find that clarity. And it also gives you a form for what I call my SWOT analysis, do we have a moment to talk about that?
Yeah, we can do about 30 seconds on that.
Okay, real quick on the SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis is a way for you to analyze your goals so that you can figure out for real, what do you have, what do you need, and is it worth it considering the opportunities and risks of the goal? And then how much do you want it? And one thing people do sometimes find is that a goal they've been carrying around for a long time isn't really something they care about. Others use it as a map to be able to make that goal into reality. And that's how you're going to plan your time going forward and use that as your boundary.
Kind of like planning a rehearsal for teachers, right? For music teachers. What's our end goal with a performance or learning outcomes, and how do we break it down into manageable steps? We are experts at doing this for other people. Sometimes we need other people to help us do it for ourselves.
Exactly.
Because that outside help, just like as students, we encourage our students to take private lessons so they can get some one-on-one help with their exact needs. So like Michelle and I do, we see the value in that. So check out her stuff. I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, a lot of her things already resonate with you because I see a whole lot of similarities. And the reason you see the similarities, you guys, is because it works. Michelle and I are living examples of our lives and our health. We're in the toilet, and look at us now. So we want to invite and share the things that we've learned with others who can use it too. Michelle, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom.
You are welcome, and it's really been a pleasure talking to you today.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode of the Band Director Bootcamp podcast. I want to thank Michelle Niemeyer and all of you who keep showing up to teach music every day. Hey, remember, success in music education isn't just about what happens on the podium. It's about taking care of yourself and setting up systems that work for you. Thanks for listening, and keep making a difference in kids' lives through the magic of music education. Before you go, I want to leave you with this. You don't need to work harder to be effective. You just need better support. Band Director Buddy GPT was created for music educators who care deeply about their programs but are tired of carrying everything alone. It's there to help you think through challenges, streamline the busy work, and protect your time and energy without lowering your standards. If that sounds like what you've been craving, head to banddirectorbuddy.com to explore how it works and decide if it's a good fit for you. Thanks for listening to the Band Director Bootcamp podcast and for the work you do every single day.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Band Director Bootcamp podcast. Remember, success in music education isn't just about what happens on the podium. It's about taking care of yourself and setting up systems that work for you. The Empowered Music Educator Academy is here to help you do just that. So be sure to check out our resources at empowerededucator.com. And of course, a huge thank you to Kennelly Keys Music, our platinum sponsor, for their unwavering support of music educators like you. Whether you need instruments, accessories, or expert advice, their team is ready to help. Thanks for listening, and keep making music happen.